Hello, so we're back for another episode of Mausritter, or more precisely, Frog Errant. We thank you very much for joining as we play this indie game by Isaac Williams and Matthew Morris. Matthew Morris wrote Frog Errant. There'll be links in the description. Thank you very much for joining me. If you like what you watch, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It increases our numbers, it increases our presence, and it increases my ego. And if you have subscribed, thank you very much. If you have any comments about the game as we're playing it, please stick them down below and I will get through to them. So we left our hero, our frog hero, Lamorak of Silverhouse, about to settle down for the night in the woods at the huge pine tree. Lamorak is off on a quest to find an ancient relic, a relic of power, where we've got persecute word. So we were saying that within the runes, which we named, I think we named those runes. We called them the Thorny Rose. So these runes here are all overgrown. So based on the fact they're called Thorny Rose, possibly we'll be expecting them to be overgrown with thorns. And we left Lamorak as he is awoken, just about to settle down to sleep, but awoken by a noise in the woods, and it ended up being a fairy. So what we will do is we will run. Our first thing is Lamorak will awaken, and the fairy will go, "Oh, little mousey, give me your babies. I'm going to take them to my queen."
I'm not a mouse. I am a frog knight.
"Oh, that's what you say, but I know what you are." Now, the fairy has a silver rapier and has the ability to cast one spell, which I randomly rolled, which is heal. And so Lamorak will pick up his shield as he's talking and pick up his short sword. Lamorak has a silver short sword, used to be a silversmith.
I will not bow down to you, fairy.
"Yes, you will, and our queen." And they will engage in mortal combat. So how this works in Mausritter is, first off, we roll a dex check to see if we go first or second. Reading the rules, combat seems quite deadly, so we really do want to go first. So our dexterity is 12, so we need to roll under a 12 with a d20. 9, so we go first. So the order of combat will be Lamorak and then the fairy. We'll take it in rounds, standard stuff. Now, Lamorak will dive forwards, shield up, and strike out with his short sword. It is assumed you automatically hit. Now, our fairy has 6 hit points, a strength of 10, a dex of 15, and a will of 15, and a d8 silver rapier. You basically take hit points off of your hit points, and then you start taking strength damage. And every time you take strength damage, you have to roll a strength check under your new strength total. And if you fail, you are critically injured. You get an injured condition and you are out. For non-player characters, we'll say that they have been slain. So, Lamorak will dive forwards and he will strike the fairy as hard as he can with his silver short sword. And the short sword does d8 damage, d6 damage rather. So we will roll a d6, 6 points. So we take all of the fairy's hit points off, so that the fairy's defense is caught completely unawares. "You strike me hard with your silver short sword." And then the fairy it's the fairy's turn. Now the fairy has a spell which he can attempt to use. And he has 3 pips, but really the spell, it will be better used if he takes strength damage and he can get his strength back. And so instead the fairy is going to attempt to maneuver around Lamorak, catch him by the side and dive in with his rapier. He has no shield and no armor. He's wearing simple very silver shimmery tabard over he's naked, he's a little fairy with little fairy wings. I'm going to slice you up, frog. So he does 3 points of damage with his rapier. Now, Lamorak is wearing a breastplate and carrying a light shield. And so Lamorak will deflect the rapier blade, which slides across the shield, catches the edge of his breastplate and strikes against his shoulder, which means that Lamorak goes from 4 hit points to 3 hit points, as he can reduce that damage by 2. And we're in a new round. Now we mustn't forget, as I always used to do with other game systems, that Lamorak has a prowess of 4, which means that he can do maximum damage, he can take no damage, he can automatically pass a save, or he can cause an enemy to automatically fail a save. And that resets with a long rest.
Oh, you are fast for a big fat frog.
And now, because he has said that, Lamorak is quite cross, and he's going to dive in with his shield and sword and attempt to smash into the fairy and knock him to the ground, doing 5 points. The fairy has no armour, which takes the fairy's strength from 10 to 5. The fairy now needs to make a check. Now we could automatically, before I roll the dice, we could make the fairy fail by spending 1 prowess. But based on the fact that the fairy has a 5, the percentage chance of rolling 1 to 5 on this d20 is of course low. But he succeeds. Who would have thunk it? As the fairy is battered and you can hear his shoulder crack as the shield strikes against him. He falls to one knee. You have not defeated me. And he attempts to slice up and catch Lamorak unawares with his rapier, doing 1 point. But Lamorak is much faster than this fairy had ever expected. Bringing his shield to parry the blade, he steps to the side and is unharmed by the deadly fairy. The fairy now will consider, I think the fairy is going to consider casting a healing spell on himself. No, this is Lamorak's turn, isn't it? So Lamorak, Lamorak might say, yield. He's a knight, isn't he? Yeah, Lamorak is going to use his turn. So if he will then step over the fallen fairy and say,
I charge you. I charge you to yield, fairy. I charge you to yield.
And the fairy will, I'm going to make the fairy make a will roll with disadvantage. Now his will is 15, which means that, or we could make Lamorak make a will roll with, let's be player-centric rolling. So Lamorak is going to make a will check, which is charisma and his willpower, with advantage because he's standing over him, which means we take the highest one away. Disadvantage, we would take the lowest one away. So he will do it with advantage, so we take the highest one away, which is taking the 16 away, which gives him a 12, which means he successfully does a will check, which means he successfully is, our fairy will, maybe he can get, so spells work as being actual tablets, so this fairy, so it says he knows a spell, maybe he's a magical creature, he wouldn't need a spell tablet, would he? He would just know how to heal himself. But he is devious. Okay, so Lamorak will yield. He'll go, all right then, I will yield, you fat frog. And Lamorak will go to time up. I'm not going to let you time me up. I have yielded, which means I will leave here and I will spare you.
Do not talk to me like that, you fey swine. I am letting you live. You cannot speak to me like that.
I don't know whether this Fae would actually be. So just to remind you, the Faeries are the main faction that we rolled randomly last game, and one of the things they've got is they have hidden roads and portals, shape-shifting agents, and illusion. I know. How about the hidden roads and portals? How about this Fae is going to offer and then I can draw it on the map. If this Fae is going to say, where are you going? And then Lamorak can say, because he's a knight, he'll tell the truth, he's going to explore the ruins. And then the Fae can say, I will tell you of a secret way. And then we will create a secret passageway between, we'll roll a d20 and create a secret passageway between here and somewhere else on the map. We'll say that that's a secret passageway.
Where are you off to, Fat Frog?
Should I tell thee? I will imbue you with the knowledge of my journey. I am going to the Thorny Rose ruins to explore it for an ancient relic. Do you know of one there?
No, but I will help you with some information if you would swear to let me go once I have.
Why don't you tell me and I will decide.
No, I want thine honor.
Okay then. I swear upon my shield and sword that if you give me information of worth, I will let you go.
So, I will tell you that there is a portal between...
Oh, that's not bad. What do we call this? 5 stone.
Between the stone wall plains and the ruins in which you explore, just to the entrance to the left, you will see a mosaic. The mosaic is of a doorway. The doorway is not just a drawing, it is real. And if you were to utter these words, and I would say these words out loud, but your ears can't hear them because they are Fae speak. Both frogs and Fae can speak in this way, but you and I cannot. Then you will be able to use the door.
So I'm going to decide that the hidden roads and portals, we're going to put 3 marks next to it. And once we have discovered, so if we encounter more Fae and we defeat them and we get them to tell us about other portals across, I'm just making this up, portals across this map, then their resources of hidden roads and portals is gone. Because one of the things that you will do, we'll start this from next session, is that when they're pursuing their individual goals, we add how many resources they have left to the dice roll to see if they're progressing. Their goals being kidnapping mice, tricking mice, and leading a settlement into the Faelands. So we now have this wormhole between the ruins and the plains. And we work out why the route goes to the plains once we've gone to the portal, but it also gets us a bit closer. Not much closer, but one step closer, if that's instant travel, one step closer to back home, to take our relic back home.
So now will you let me go, Fat Frog?
My name is Lamorak of Silverhouse, and being of noble descent, I will stay to my word. Leave now, and do not re-enter this camp until the day after tomorrow, or I shall take thy life.
Fair enough.
And he'll flutter off into the woods, and Lamorak will then settle down. Now Lamorak lost 1 hit point, and how we get hit points back is if we rest, which takes 1 turn, and we get a swig of water, we can regain a d6 plus 1 hit points. If we have a long rest, which takes a watch, we'll start monitoring watches next session as well, which means a meal and some sleep. It will restore all your hit points plus a d6 to an attribute score. Now we didn't take any attribute damage, but we did take 1 hit point. So what we will do is we're going to say that as he goes to sleep, he will have his drink of water and he'll have a bit of food, and Lamorak is going to regain his hit point. Now we will consume 1 dot of rations, and what we have to do is after every combat we roll a d6 for for our armour and our weapon. If we roll a 4 to 6, we mark a use, it's been damaged, otherwise it's fine. So for our shield is damaged, our breastplate is damaged, and our sword is damaged. So all of those scratches and those nicks from that rapier defended us, but it caused out some wear and tear. We'll work out how we heal, how we repair things, and we are a silversmith, so we might be able to repair our sword later on. But basically, we'll attempt to purchase things as well. We have a hammer, so we might be able to do some repairs. So what we will do is Lamorak will then go to sleep, and in the morning, the next day, Lamorak will be travelling down further through the same woods. So whatever these woods are, he will be travelling into the woods to try and discover the ruins, the Thorny Rose ruins. So what we might do is we will roll an encounter, and I'm going to quickly use the encounter, which is from the aeroplanes, from the Mausritter book. We've got this encounter table, and so I'm going to roll. How do we do encounters? 1 second. So what we do is, as he moves in, we'll roll a d6. On a 1, an encounter occurs. On a 2, we get an omen, a hint of an encounter. A 6, so nothing. So we start to explore the woods, the rose woods. So it's a standard wooded area with plush, mossy grass, as Lamorak hot walks around trying to find. There is a large smattering of rose smells, and he follows his nose, exploring the woods until he comes across an old wall, which seems slightly different as the wall goes into this dark black rose bush, very covered in thorns. And he continues to explore around, trying to find an entrance, and notices that some of the rocks are a different colour, some of the stonework is a different colour around the wall, the fallen stone wall, and he begins to move one of the cobblestones to the side. And so if he can make a strength check, which he fails, so he's struggling and struggles to try and move the wall. He will try again. If he fails again, he'll take damage. 14, he fails and takes a d4 hit points. 1 hit point. He will then have a sit down, have a breather, have a rest, and try and work out a different way. And so he is going to find a long stick and attempt to wedge it into the edge of this rock and attempt to pry it open. So I will give him advantage. Moving the 17, being 6, and there's a cracking sound, and he thinks that the log stick is cracking, and instead it's the creaking, cracking sound of the stonework as this strangely coloured stone slips out of the wall and drops to the ground, narrowly missing his flipper, and a dark entrance exposes itself ahead of him. So I'm going to use a way of tracking, because then we know when we should turn our torch off. And what I'll do is, you give me a second, we will, hold on, where are we? What I'll do is, we have a little bit here, which is how to generate an adventure site. So first off, we have creating a theme. So we have an 8 sewer or drainage pipes. That works quite nicely. So this is constructed within the wall. There are some old lead drainage pipes that have been repurposed as the ruins, which Lamorak is going to begin exploring. And so what I will do is, so hold on, what have we got next? Choose factions and goals. So we know what the goal is. The goal is to find a treasure, and the treasure would be, and so if there isn't a treasure, I will mark a treasure. So the last square that we will explore will contain the treasure if we haven't found a treasure so far. Draw a map of location and divide it into rooms. This can be actual rooms or just sensible divided lines. So there is an online app which is linked to from the mouse. Well, it's not an app. it's a web page, which is linked to the Mausritter site, which I'll put into the description, where you can automatically generate an adventure site. I'm not going to use that for this one. I'm just going to draw some boxes, but I've looked at it, and so I know what it looks like. So give me a second, I'll be back. Okay, so what I've done is I've drawn this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this branches out. So we basically come here, and then we'll branch down like that, come back in, and then we'll branch out. So wherever the last one we explore is, that's going to contain our treasure. And what we'll do is we're going to randomly roll to stock each room as we go. Now the problem why I didn't use the one on the website is it stocks the whole thing, which is fine if you're a DM, but if you're solo playing, you then know, which is fine because you can just play without metagaming it, and it's quite fun either way when you know what's going to happen next. Often I will think about what I want to happen next in my stories and lead in that way, but they won't necessarily turn out that way, and I'll use the dice. So first off, we will we will stock our rooms. For each room within the adventure site, roll or choose the type of contents, page 36. All right, so what type of room is our first room? So Lamorak will light his torch, and he will move into the first room, which is the old lead pipe, and he will notice. I'll write it here. Somebody has drawn onto the wall of this lead pipe a mural of a stone gateway, and into that you can see a field. Now Lamorak will pick up a stick from the floor and will throw it against the wall, and instead of the expectation of it bouncing off the wall of the field, he sees it falls through the picture, which is just a drawn picture, a simple drawn chalk. Maybe it's magic chalk, like Simon and his magic chalk, which is a very old English, really depressing animated children's cartoon, where Simon bunks off school to draw friends with magic chalk, and then he spends his days playing with them instead of going to school. So what a depressing life Simon must have had. Anyway, so this chalk drawing of countryside field, like a field of corn, and the stick goes through but disappears, and the drawing just stays the same. And then whilst Lamorak, if he watches it for too long, he can see that the drawing slowly sways and there's movement within the drawing, but it's really, really slow. So he then sees that on the sort of wall, but what else does he see in this room? 3, an obstacle. So we've got an obstacle. Obstacles are barriers that must be bypassed by players to continue. Use up the player's resources, highlight special equipment, or push them to further explore. So we've got an obstacle. So we have a D8 for what this obstacle is. Sorry about that. 3, room with an exit in the centre of the roof. Okay, all right. So the exit out. So this room. So as Lamorak enters the room and continues further forwards, Lamorak can see that there's a dead end ahead, and the way out is up through the ceiling, where the tunnel, this natural drainage pipes work for this, it goes up. Lamorak does not have rope on him at all, and so this is exploring. So what's this? So each turn when a player uses a torch or lantern marked T or L in the turn's box, when 6 boxes have been marked, the player must mark use. Okay, so he is used a torch for the first turn tracker. So what's he going to do? He will put the torch out for now and leave, and he's going to go and start looking for some stones. Now we've got our pressure point, so I reckon now that he's come in here, we're going to drop it down to 9, because our world is getting a little bit more complicated, and we're going to say to our oracle, which I think is highly likely, can Lamorak find a rock big enough that he can carry that will help him get up there? So it's a 9. So we're going to say this is likely. So we've both of those are above. Take the lowest number away, likely. So we are 2 above the pressure point. So the answer is no, but same as a yes version, but it may not all be bad news. Okay, all right, so yes, he can find some rocks, but it's going to take him a good couple of hours, but there's not one rock that he can budge. There's one big rock, but he can't budge it by himself, but there's lots of small rocks, so he will be able to pile up something in the entrance, but it will use up one of the dots on his torch as he's seeing what he's doing and piling it up. So what we're going to have him do is, I think there's a thing for foraging. We're going to have him do a foraging check. So that means he's going to spend some time. So he'll pile up, he'll spend the morning, the whole of the morning, piling up rocks as what he'll need. And it's going to consume 1 dot of his torches. And then in the afternoon, he can now go into and up through that hole. So he's created a pile of stones.
Now, this is why a frog should always be chosen to be a knight, for we have the intellect and the adaptability to be able to collect the rocks and stack them neatly. This is why Lamorak was chosen for the quest.
What was it? What's his doom? Beware of the rat's intention. So we've cleared, put the stones.
Now, up I go.
So I'm going to make him make a standard dex check. If he succeeds, he can get up there. If he fails, he might need to get more rocks. Oh, that's a big fail. Okay, I'm going to say because of that big fail, he's going to take... then he can just rest, can't he? He takes 1 point of damage. He will choose not to rest because of just taking 1 point. He can rest later. And he slips off and hurts himself, but then manages to climb up to the top and get in to the top part. And now we're into our second room within the runes. So what do we find in here? This room is empty. Empty rooms provide mice with a chance to catch their breath and prepare for the next challenge. So what possibly, because this is an empty room, I'm going to say it's empty. There's an old warm nest. So Lamorak will be able to sleep here if he chooses to, although he's going to run out of food if he keeps going as he is. What time have we got? So this is all right. So I'll see if I can go to around. Maybe we'll do over half hour, just over half hour. So we've still got 5 left to explore. Maybe we'll explore 1 or 2. So Lamorak is noticing that there are two tunnels. We'll see if one goes up or down, depending on what the obstacle. If this has an let's do. So this is empty. Because it's empty and it's the thing to rest, we'll just say that this one leads off slightly down and this one leads off slightly up. That then gives us the split, and then we can then come back to here. So Lamorak is going to decide to voyage into the up area and see what comes next. 3, we have an obstacle. Obstacle would be a D8. 6, tunnel completely filled with water. Okay, so he's gone up here, and this area here of the second half, because he's come up, this then dips back down, which makes sense because this has gone down, but it goes down quite far and there's water. So so this pipe here is full of water. So what did we have? So we came back up, so we've gone 1, then we've gone 2, and then we'll have a look, explore. So we'd say 3, so we've got torch, torch, and then 3 torch. Okay, so we need to roll for an encounter in this water area. We'll see what we can do in this. So we roll a d6 because what we've done is we've gone torch, 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 and the ones with that around it means to roll an encounter. 5, so there's nothing. So there's just, if we enter this piece of pipe where the sides of the pipe have cracked and have broken away, and the natural running of the water within this stone wall has caused the water to pool around here, and we can clearly see through the clear water here that there's a passageway running down. Water is running down the stonework on the walls and keeping this pool full as the water is flowing down. We're a frog, and so we could possibly swim under there, but we don't want to get our sword wet, and so we will hang around this like gravel and wet floor around here. Let's see if we can, oh, we could do some, no, we won't do some fishing. And so what we will do is we could come back round, but that's going to consume, so torch, yeah, 2 torches. We've only got 2 things of our torch left. If we put the torch out, it's dark and we're going to have to try and swim under here and come out wherever this thing is here. So we might do that. We might put the torch out and then we will swim down the tunnel and attempt to come out wherever this is, and then try and relight our torch when we come. No, it's going to be wet. No, we'll do that. That's cinematic. So we're going to come down, we're going to put the torch out, and then we're going to attempt to swim down this tunnel, dive into the water, which is all cold. So we'll make a strength check to see if we can withhold the water, otherwise we're going to get back out again. Yep, so we can stand how cold it is, and we will then use that to swim down into the water and go deep down. We are going to say to the oracle, do we get lost? So yes is more interesting. Oh no, because we want a yes. So what we're going to say is, are we able to swim through the water and come out into the room where we think we're coming out? Because otherwise this might come out into another room, or we might build another room altogether. So our pressure point is still 9. Why did I roll 2 dice? Because I was thinking it would be... Well, let's do this again. I'm going to roll 2 dice and I'm going to give us disadvantage and take away the lowest because it's dark and we're swimming underwater and there's a possibility it might be. So 9 is our pressure point. We're taking away the lowest. Lowest is 8, so 12, which is a difference of 3, and the difference of 3 is no. So we are going to create a new, so there is a way down this way. We're going to create a new room here, and this is going to have led to the new room by accident. The pipe split over, so for us to come back we'll have to swim up and then come back down again, and we come out down here. And for the last thing we're going to work out, so this is a nothing because we're not using a torch or a lantern. What is within this new room 6? It's nice. That came out nice. It's the lair of something. So we've got lair, which is a d6 again. A 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Protecting young. There is a creature here protecting its young. All right, there's something hiding in here that's protecting its young. So what do we have? We have cat, no. Centipede, maybe. Crow, no. Fairy, no. Frog, maybe. Oh no, frogs gallantly do. Frogs and knights. Ghost or mouse. I might need to get some extension of this. I'm going to say that it's a wild mouse with young that are hiding from the fairies, and the mouse took its life in its hand, so the area is lit. So as we come out to the water we can see there's torch water. As we come up there's torch light, so the area is lit, and it's a wild mouse. And we've got, so it says it can have a d6 sword or a d6 bow. We will give it a club, which would be a So it would be a D6 improvised weapon. So it's going to have a D6 improvised weapon. It has 3 hit points, strength of 9. But it's a wild throwback mouse. And so, I don't know, shall we do that? We'll do that next session. So basically, Lamorak is going to attempt to, maybe he will attempt to talk the mouse down, but it's a wild mouse. And let's say, all right, so I think this is unlikely. I'm going to drop our chaos. So our pressure point is now, because we're in the middle of this wild mouse shouting at us, to 8. And we're going to say, what do we want? So let's just read this bit for the yes, no again. Yeah, so we want it to be in the positive affirmation. So it's helpful if it can speak English. So we're going to say, can this mouse speak English? You know, speak the common tongue. I am going to just do a D20 because it's one way or another, and we want to get under 8 for a yes. 4 is 4 under, which is yes. So it speaks common language. So we might be able to talk it around. And that is where we will end. We will end with Lamorak attempting to talk down a wild mouse defending some of its young from the Faeries in a small nest in the Thorny Rose ruins in the woods of the Rosewoods. Thank you very much for joining me. That's quite nice. Quite nice like that. We will continue Lamorak's journey next time. If you like what you've seen, please hit the thumbs up. If you would like to subscribe and see what happens to Lamorak next, please do subscribe. It's just quickly hitting subscribe. It helps me out a lot because it bumps the numbers and then makes presents better. And in the end, I may even become monetized, which would be very exciting. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very, very much. You really are appreciated. I really do appreciate you watching, and I appreciate all the comments you make. And hopefully you're enjoying this as much as I am. Lamorak will return next time. See ya.